Hi.
Hey, witches.
Here
Okay.
we are. The finale.
The last couple chapters of
A long time coming.
ACOWAR. It has.
Yup.
This one has seemed the longest. But I feel like there's
Yeah.
been so much to talk about packed into this book.
Yeah. I think that's just the problem. Anyways.
So we left off on a huge cliffhanger.
Dun
Reese had
dun
just
dun.
died. On page 666 of the book, Reese is dead. So right on page 667, like before I could even keep going, as she's talking about like how he said I love you had been a declaration, not a declaration but a goodbye. He had known he had nothing left and stopping it would take everything. It would cost him everything. I would be so fucking angry. I
Right?
don't know that I'd be able to forgive the universe or him for
No.
letting that
That
happen. Like,
sacrifice. I would have been
yeah,
like, no, we're going together. Fuck you.
right. You made that choice for us, and now I'm alone at the beginning of this immortal life that I have to fucking figure it out. Like, I would be so fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I could think about as I was reading it. And this is gonna be an unpop. Well, let me stop. My next thing isn't until page 671.
I got some on 669. So, all right. So, Reese is dead. Everyone's just kind of there hanging out and around, and Feyre is losing her fucking mind, like screaming at people, telling them to bring it back, do it the way that they did it for her. And he's like, I don't know if it'll work that way. Or Hellion was like, I don't know if it'll work that way. She goes, you fucking try. And so Tarquin's like, fuck it, let's do it. For what he gave today and for many years before, here we go. And it's like Tarquin has officially been like, yes, Reese has done so many shitty things, but he did it to lessen the blow.
Yes.
And so then they all start giving a kernel of life. And it's funny because Baron's like, I don't want to. I don't want to at all. And then uh Moore draws her sword and goes, I do not mind making one more kill today. And he's just like, oh, okay, here you go.
Right.
And then it kind of spills on to 670. And then all of a sudden, the last person who needed to give a kernel of power was Tamlin.
Fucking
And it's
Tammy.
like, oh shit, now what? And so she doesn't know. So she starts like, I wouldn't say bargaining, but like, please, like begging. Like, I will give you anything. I like anything. Just please do this for me. And I mean, this could have led on to a whole other fucking book. You never know. But
Right.
SJM decided Tamlin deserves a redemption. So he just looks at her and goes, be happy, Feyre. And then gives him some power. And then Reese is back.
Fuck that. Fuck a redemption. He is trying to pick up his sorry ass off the ground and make himself. He's trying to redeem himself. He had to do this just for me to not rip his fucking throat out. Are you shitting me? Fuck a redemption. He fucking sucks still. He. Anyway,
Abusers
no.
don't get redemption.
No.
I don't
Fuck
care what
him.
you people say.
And
He don't.
not only that, but like he continually like it got worse and worse and worse and worse, and like he wouldn't take no for an answer. Like fuck you, Tamlin. Fuck you.
Right?
Um.
Like you started essentially almost started this entire fucking war with Highburn. Like it was in the works, it was in the plans, but you
Right.
fucking accelerated it because you brought them here into your lands because you
And
wanted Feyre back. You fucker, you
right.
narcissist.
And not only that, but like this sacrifice might not have been necessary had you not given them so much info fucking mation. Like,
Thank you.
Ah,
Like, if you would have worked with him from the
fuck you,
get-go
bro.
and been like, I don't care that you, like, worked with Highburn, but, like, be like a Snape. Do double. Work for us, work for
Okay,
him.
Snape
I don't give
fucking
a
sucks
shit.
too. Snape was not redeemed either, if we're being honest.
Well,
But
that's
that's
why
a
I called
whole
him a
nother
Snape.
fandom. That's a whole nother
That's why I
fandom
called
and
him
a
a
whole
Snape.
nother argument. And even
Listen,
J.K.
that's why I
Rowling can
called him
come
a
fight
Snape.
me about it. I know. Because he was fucking trash bag. And the fact that Harry would not have named his fucking Harry might have. Ginny would have been like, the fuck we're naming our son after that shit bag? No. Anyway.
Listen, the his
Albus Severus Potter my
tangent.
ass.
Yeah, see, listen, that kid, like Harry, all of this happened in the 90s. His poor son had to grow up in the 2000s with Albus Severus, whatever.
Severus. Yeah.
Like, Will tells me all the time, he goes, the name you want to name our son, like, he's going to be bullied. And I was like, no, he's not. No, he's not. I can list off a few people who could be bullied for their names, and he is one of them.
Yes.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
anyways, Tamlin wasn't
That sound
Tamlin
was
didn't have a
golden.
redemption,
Fuck Tamlin. Also,
but
I did
he
not
could have done both
expect.
sides.
Yeah, I don't even.
Expect what?
Ugh. I did not expect it to work. And I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie, the
right?
dark, twisty,
Because
fucked
he's
up side of me is kind of disappointed that it did. Like, disappointed in the writing. Because
yeah.
not only does that happen, but then on the next page, something even better happens. And I'm just like, like I'm not a 100% happy ending kind of girl. Like I like for there to
Honestly,
be a little heartache in my stories.
I would have enjoyed if Reese didn't survive, but Amryn did. Like if
Yes,
like
the
I
whole
would have
bond.
enjoyed that. Right, because then it would have been like an animosity towards Amryn, and then it could have been like now we have to venture through this world and be like have to, I wouldn't say forgive Amryn, but be like the troop.
Well,
Um
and like explore Amron's survivor's guilt,
right.
because like that would happen.
Yeah.
I just
Like that trope, like right there, that one. I think
yes,
that'd be
like
good.
I was excited that Amron is back, and let's wait. She had come back as just high fae. Her silver eyes were solid, unmoving, no smoke, no burning mist in them. A normal life, no trace of her powers to be seen. Um, and like I was happy that Amron like survived.
She did
Um,
a like she did one of the ultimate sacrifices, so like she deserved
right,
it.
and
Not that Reese didn't deserve it. I think he did, but like
right, but I also feel like that's how Reese would want to go,
yeah. I also
sacrificing
feel
himself
like
for his people.
right, and I feel like Fair is kind of a stupid asshole sometimes. So like it's kind of one of
Yeah,
those like yeah,
I don't
deserved
know. It
it.
was it was just like everything. Which correct me if I'm wrong, but she intended this to be the end of the series, right?
I don't know, to be honest.
It reads that way because she
Well,
ties
so
up
did the
all
first
the
book.
loose end. Well, yeah. Well, she might not have been sure that she was going to get picked up for a second book after the first one, but like she really ties up all the loose ends. I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean like you never know. Like she might not have.
I know. I just think it's funny. You
But
say it like that.
well, I say it like it's like a TV series, right?
Yeah, right. Like they
Um,
didn't get, the green light for the
renewed.
third season.
But the end of this book feels like the end. Like she makes it a happy ending. She brings Reese back. She brings Amron back. Everything that happens, like it's like a big happy ending. Everything's tied back together.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and if this had been the very end of the series, I might have been happy with this, like with him coming back to life.
But
As
knowing
it
it's
is,
not.
yeah, knowing that the story continues, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it, but one thing I do like is that it would not have been possible had he not made her his high lady, because nobody would have had that power. Like, nobody would have had
Yeah.
the power to
And
give.
I wouldn't say he thinks ahead about like what could happen, but it's kind of like he like knows what's going to happen. Like he's like a seer in his own right, you know? Like
Right. And so, like, so it makes me think of Dumbledore. You know how, like, Dumbledore, like, knew that Ron needed the Deluminator because he was going to need the way back. And,
yeah,
like all of the things that he thought ahead on, it reminds me of that. Like, and everybody probably hates how many Harry Potter references I make, but what you need to know about me, guys, is that Harry Potter is about a fourth, maybe, I would maybe even venture to say, like, a third of my personality. So I make a
for
lot of
real.
references. It really is. Like, if you could see the room I'm sitting in right now, I
Yeah.
have multiple editions of the Harry Potter books. Like, there's a calendar over there. It's everywhere. Jesus Christ. Let me stop looking around because I'm starting to realize that I'm not exaggerating.
Anyways,
Oh my
go
gosh.
ahead.
All right. Now that's all I have for chapter 77.
I had one last one. So it okay. So I wrote like I'm not crying, you're crying because it's like a bittersweet end. It's like Varian's crying, like choking out sounds because Amron's back, and it's like Reese is sitting there like, yeah, I was in the void and I saw her there, and I just reached out a hand to see if maybe she wanted to come with, and then it's just kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
and it was just like really, really, it was cute and great, um and then it was like, and as Amron smiled at me, I wondered if that had been her last gift, if it all had been a gift, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yes. I
anyways,
just fucking love it.
yeah.
Ugh.
Chapter 78.
I literally only wrote two things for this chapter.
Same.
One was on 675 because Lucian
Oh,
shows
well,
up. Oh, sorry.
yeah. No, you're good. Um, the page right before that, um, it
Oh, okay.
was, yeah. Okay, so they go back to their dad's body and they bury him, and it's like they weren't religious because of everything that Faye has done to them in the human realm, that they just forsaken all holidays because that was a Faye thing. So they were just, Elaine's like, do we pray, do we do this, and they're basically just like standing around him, and it's like um Feyre, what is it? Feyre remembered a prayer or a saying that was said way back in ACOWAR. And so she said it. And I just like, I started crying. I legitimately cried the first time. And then I definitely cried the second time. I was like, no, I know this is coming. Why am I crying again? But here I was laying in bed, like crying my eyes out. And it's just sad because I think it reminded me of my mom. And it was just like, I'm not really religious, but like I prayed for her, just like if she was religious, to make sure she like was safe and sound or whatever. And it's just, it was really
Yeah.
sad. Um, that prayer is great though. I mean, even from like a non-religious standpoint, like regardless, I think it's great because it's like, Mother hold you. Um, may you pass through the gates. May you smell that immortal land of milk and honey. Um, fear no evil, fear no pain. May you enter eternity. And I think I said that it was back. Yeah, it was in ACOTAR under the mountain,
Yeah.
and it was just sad. And I really like that prayer because it's not very religiousy. It's just
Right.
it's a nice little like comforting saying kind of thing. Anyways,
Yeah.
go ahead with your Lucian.
Oh, yeah. And then on the next page, after they Feyre burns their father's body, like, so he turns to ash on the wind, and then after that, they're just standing there staring at the pyre, basically. Um, And then there's footsteps on the grass, and Nesta like whirls around like ready to fucking fight because that's just who Nesta is as a human being, or as a she's not a human being anymore, as a
as a
person,
person.
a being. I don't even know.
Well, and it's like
And
she took this the hardest, so she was definitely being protective at that point.
yeah, because I feel like she almost had that chance to like rekindle that relationship and to fix things
Yeah.
and to forgive him, and then that
And
was
then
just
it's
like ripped
just,
away. And
yeah.
yeah, that sucks.
And then now I think she's got survivor's guilt. Maybe
Yeah,
not like to the extent of a legitimate survivor guilt kind of like thing, like why didn't I
right.
die? But very, very similar. Like, why couldn't have been me? Like, he could have done this. He could have survived.
Yeah,
I guess that is
absolutely.
survivor's guilt, but
Yeah,
anyways.
but it's different a little bit.
Yeah.
But then Lucian shows back up, and uh, yeah, he's like, Voss is gonna corner you as soon, or I'm surprised she's not done it already. Now that the battle's over, um, and he, I don't know. I just was excited that Lucian was back, but I also like,
He's
I
been
get
like
that
one of your favorites since the first book, though, so.
he has,
And
but
it's been a while.
I also feel like he, I, I feel like he and Elaine are not going to end up together,
Hmm.
which makes me kind of sad for him. But I could be wrong as well. But like just the way that things go, I'm like,
I have no idea. Like, that I can't even give you, like, this face for
right.
to, like, make you think. But I really don't know.
Yeah,
I
no,
think that'll be revisited in, like, Silver Flames.
yeah. I feel like it'll have to be because I'm sure Elaine is a prominent character in that book since Nesta's the main character. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so. Um,
Um,
but she does invite him back to Velaris, so there's that.
yeah.
The next
Um,
thing I have is on 677, right at the very end of the chapter. So,
Same. I just said
Karen,
that I think Miriam sounds gorgeous.
she does.
We don't even know what she looks like, and then she's just like sounds beautiful.
So I had picked my person. So I've already done my fan casting ideas, and I've already picked my person before her. But then reading this again, like on the pillows beside Reese sat a lovely female, her dark hair tumbling down her back and luscious curls, already smiling at me. I'm like, yeah, I like who I picked. But like, I want their story. That's what I wrote. Like, they're here now, and I want their fucking story.
Right.
I want like either a novella or I don't know, in one of these other books. I just want their fucking story. God damn it.
Right. If anyone wants that, spam SJM. I know I
For
have.
real. And like I want to know like the whole thing, like when they went to Cretea and when they or is that what it's called? Cretea? Cretia? Cretea? I
I think
call
it's
it Cretea.
Cortea.
I think it sounds prettiest. So that's what I'm gonna call
It kind of reminds me of
it.
Croatoan.
Yeah. So I'm gonna call it Cretea. And I want to know like when they first got there. I want to know when they like put the veil over it. I want to know everything, all of it. And I need in that story. I feel like their story is intertwined with Nefeli and her wife, and I want to know all that story as well.
Yeah, I want to
And
know. I just want to have like a. So, but I don't know. I think it's like House of Breath or something like that. Another SJM series. One of her other series is like in the same world
oh,
as this one.
I think I've heard that, but it's
I
not.
don't. It's not
It's
Prithian,
not Throne
but
of
it's
Glass. No, but it's her
yeah.
other
I think it's
series.
like
Not.
House of Breath or House of Fire. I don't know.
Yeah, something.
Crescent City. Is it Crescent
Yeah, that's
City?
it. That's it. Yeah,
That
I
one.
think I
Yeah.
think that one. I don't know.
Um.
I haven't read Throne of Glass yet. It's sitting here, but I haven't started reading it yet. because I know once I start, it's gonna be like a whole rabbit hole that I'm gonna go down. So.
Yeah. I don't even have it. I'm too broke to buy it.
Listen, I wouldn't have, but remember I sent it to you. I got it for like $80 at BAM.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I have a Barnes and Noble right near me, and I'm absolutely terrified to walk in.
yeah, that's fair.
Everyone's like, well, why don't you just go in? I was like, no, thank you. I don't have self control. I do not. I
No,
have some self control, but when it's things I really enjoyed, like video games or like witch things, or like I go to a festival and I see things that
yep,
I'm interested in, nope, nope, no, no, no. Money
yes.
goes out the window. Like I lose all consciousness. I black out and then I spend all my money and I come to and I'm like, oh, I'm still happy with my purchases. I don't care.
Right.
I'm broke,
I
but I don't
literally,
care.
if I go to like festivals or craft shows or something, I usually take cash, and I'm like, I can buy food on my debit card, like food and drinks, but like that's it. I can't
Nothing
buy
else.
anything else. No, like,
No,
yeah, because
I
otherwise
get
I
that.
will spend a ridiculous amount of money, especially at a craft show, because it's all like one of a kind shit. Like I'm horrible. It's
Yeah.
bad.
I had that Pagan Fest this weekend in northern South Carolina, and the girl I'm going with was like, I have $150 I saved up, but then she had to buy groceries and all that. And she goes, I have $50 to spend. And I was like, well, you're doing better because I got none. And she goes, well, that $50 probably going to go towards gas. And I was like, ooh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, for real. It's
So,
that's the hard thing, especially when you're like go traveling for a festival.
yeah, because we got to drive like 3 hours for it.
Well, and I'm also horrible because like when I go to a craft show, I'm usually there with my mom, and usually we're participating in the craft show. So like anything I sell, I end up spending. Like it's awful,
Hey, that's fine because that's not money you've never seen.
right? Right? Oh my
That's
gosh.
fine.
Anyway, chapter
Uh,
79. That's where we're at now.
yeah.
Um. So what was I talking about? Oh, okay. So Miriam is like, your mate was in the middle of telling us your story, and it seems you've already heard ours. And
Not all of it. I want to hear more.
right, she's like, I had, but I wanted to know the entire thing one day, not tomorrow or the day after, but one day I wanted to hear their tale in full. Yes, Feyre, like me fucking too. I want to know. I want the whole story from like the war on, like to this war,
Like,
from war to war.
what how did Miriam come to be near Drakon? Like, what was Jurian's story with her? Like,
Yeah, which I feel like we get a little bit of that, just like a little bit, but like not enough. I need the whole thing.
mm-hmm.
Ugh. Um, and then page 680 to 81. Um, they're talking about the cauldron and how it needs to be hidden away. And she's like telling them, you're gonna take it to Cretea and you're gonna hide it, and this is how we're gonna do it. And I'm just like, this bitch, less than a year ago, was a human like toddler. Like she's a toddler compared to them. And she's out here just bossing them around and telling them what to do, and like I'm just loving it. Like, and they just
at
are they're
least she
doing it. Like
at least she asked. She's just like, would this place remain a good place for a secret object that needs to remain hidden? And then they're both like, yes.
I
You
know.
mean the cauldron?
I just like I can't even. Like I love how she's just like, this is what we're gonna do. And
And Reese is like, whatever.
yeah, Reese is like, that's my wife. Like, oh my gosh. I just
I can
cracked
barely stand on my own. She terrifies me, so here we are.
right? Like I just love it. Um, yeah. And then on the
I
like oh, wait, maybe not. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Hold on.
I guess I'm on 683. Um, so okay, so they were all getting ready for like a meeting to decide what to do now that the wall's down, treaty with the humans and all of that. And so like they're all at Pharaoh's mansion or manor or whatever in the human realm, and they're all like looking and waiting for all these people to show up. So like after all of the high lords and their group show up, Lucian's standing there in Illyrian leathers right next to Feyre. Tamlin shows up alone. Um, and Lucian's like going to talk to him like Tamlin, like probably to apologize or anything like that. And Tamlin literally looked at him, saw what he was wearing, and like that was it. Basically, just he I feel like he just assumed Lucian's allegiance despite any possible reasoning. Like, bro, he literally was gone. He showed up, like you watched him show up. Probably, I don't know, actually. I don't know when he showed up in the fight. But he
Right,
fucking
but
showed up.
no.
Like, what the fuck you think he was gonna wear? And
Yeah.
it's like, you know what? I don't see how Tammy is mad or can be mad. Like, he brought this upon himself. But that's a
Right.
typical narcissist. They're not going to assume responsibility for their actions. So, like, I see it, I get it, but it
Yeah.
pisses me off.
I wrote that too. I wrote um poor Lucian, and then I wrote fuck Tammy, because it's not his fault. Like, first of all, he had to run with Feyre. Like, at a certain point, he let me start over with what I'm trying to say here. So Tamlin literally started a fucking war because he was obsessed
Hmm.
with Feyre. They weren't even fucking mated. He was just obsessed with her. And Lucian's mate is in the night court. His only option of seeing her was to go with Feyre. So he did. And then he only presumably took one outfit with him, because, they left from the wall, like, and after killing what's their faces and the twins and Ianthe, like, after, or not Ianthe, but the twins, and smashing Ianthe's hands and all that. They literally left. Like, what the fuck do you expect him to be wearing? He was there when the war started, and he needed armor. Their
It's
armor
not
in
like
the
he
like,
stopped in the autumn court to, you
right,
know,
or the spring
pick
court,
up a
like,
change of clothes.
right, like,
They made it to the winter court before, like, anybody intervened.
ugh. Anyway, pissed me off. And then on the bottom of that page, I can't decide. I've read this paragraph, the last paragraph on page 683. I read it like 7 or 8 times, because is this a typo, or is they
Mm.
talking about Nesta? Where it says Lucian now stood in the sitting room close to Elaine's side as she and my sister silently kept against the wall by the intact bay of windows. Is it talking about Elaine and Nesta, or is it talking about Lucian and Elaine, and it's a typo? Like, I read it like 5 or 6 times. Like, what?
So she looks into this room to where Lucian now is standing in the sitting room. He's close to Elaine and her side, and she, like, I think she's noticing that her sister and her um are by the bay windows.
So it's like Nesta and Elaine are standing there, and now Lucian is standing with them.
Hmm.
See, I read it like 5 or 6 times, and I was like, I still don't like the way the sentence is structured. I feel like there was a better way to say that. Like,
Listen, if I'm
but
ever to write a book, I will send it to you because you are the most anal fucking person ever.
I really am. I am that person that on my Kindle, like, you can report typos now on the
Hmm.
Kindle, and I'm constantly like, ah! But it's the worst when it's like a textbook or like a nonfiction, like
Oh yeah,
a serious publication, and there's typos. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? And like,
it
how many
really,
people
yeah.
had to read this to get it released with typos? It's frustrates me.
That really frustrated me as like a master student who consistently always had to like research and like read all of that, because I'm taught that important words of a title should be capitalized.
Mm-hmm.
No so, like no like conjunctions, nothing like that. Just like you're reading, like for instance, I was in behavioral analysis, so I would be like effects on uh punishment, extinction based behavior plans on some behavior. So behavior plans and like the first two words in front of that in effects and some behavior, like whatever it is all capitalized. Nothing else is.
Yeah.
And some of the times it would just be the first word's capitalized and the rest of it's not. And like
Ugh.
you have to cite that. So then I'm like, well, I don't want to get counted off for them being like, well, you didn't capitalize any of this. And it's like, bitch, look at the fucking thing.
Right. It's like a
I'm
direct
copying it.
quote. Like, right.
Like
I
I'm
copy and
copying it
pasted this
straight from this.
bitch.
I gave you page number, everything. Like it's there.
Right. No, I got
It,
you.
school wasn't that hard, but that was stressful.
Oh,
That
yeah.
right there would like put me into panic attacks. So I'd be like, this is gonna go against my grade. Like, this is my grade. Oh my god, what are they gonna do? Like, do I email? Excuse me, God, sorry, I'm eating pizza as I'm doing this. Like, do I like contact somebody? Like, what do I do? Yeah, so
Oh,
it
my
was terrifying.
gosh.
Anyways, I have
Anyway.
nothing left.
On 686, Vasa finally finds Feyre. Because I was really confused when Lucian was like, she's gonna find you. I'm surprised she hasn't found you already. I was like, why? And
Isn't she a
then,
fucking firebird?
yeah, she's a firebird. And she wants Feyre to break the curse. And I was wondering why, but like that's what I wrote, was that I was wondering why Lucian said that. Um, and that's why. So it makes sense. But also, like, I don't know, like, is it painful to be a firebird? Because, like, seems like a badass extra gift to have. Like, I don't know.
I think she only has that gift because of the death god or whatever that she's bound to.
That's true. So, like, maybe breaking the curse breaks the binding or whatever.
Like maybe it's like a not a bargain, but
Yeah,
like a bond kind of thing.
yeah. I don't know. But that's the last thing I have
Whatever.
for that chapter. Now we're on to chapter 80. And
My
right off the
gosh.
fucking bat, right off the bat, um, they're all telling each other their stories and like what happened, and Feyre's telling her story to everyone. Um, and then Miriam and Draken step forward to tell their own story, and I was so fucking excited. And then she didn't write it.
You didn't get it.
Feyre, so I literally wrote, so Feyre gets to hear their story, but we don't. Lame. I was fucking pissed.
That's
Pissed.
just funny.
I was pissed.
um, what is it?
I'm
You're
still
just so
pissed. I
mad.
don't know if you can tell, but I'm still pissed.
All these bitches get to hear this shit, and we don't.
I'm mad.
Um, I got something on 691.
I had something on 690 because um uh she asks Jurian, Feyre asks Jurian, do you think we stand a chance of peace between all of us? And Jurian was silent for a long moment. Yes, he said softly, I do. And I didn't know why, but it gave me comfort. And like I feel like it gave you comfort because if like I feel like Jurian's this like sarcastic, like pessimistic asshole.
And the fact that he didn't use this as a joke.
Right. And he just was like, yes, I believe that it can happen. I'm like, that's why it's comforting, because if he believes it, then it probably can happen.
And if he doesn't, then he would have said something. He's like Deadpool.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like Deadpool. He says some stupid shit from time to time, and then when it really like he's really serious about it, he like says something serious, and you're like, oh shit.
Right. I also have something on 691, but it's probably the same thing you have, so I'm gonna let you go first.
Maybe. I love the characters that are super quiet throughout the entire series, and then has like a fucking one liner that really just takes
Yes.
it all out. So okay, so they're all going back. So like they all went back to Velaris, and they're all standing in like the cottage, basically where they were, or the manor, or whatever the fuck it's called, the house, um, the townhouse. That's what it's called. And so they're standing in the front, and Amarin like looks over to Nesta and was like, "Hey, I'm surprised you didn't like take the king's head and mount it." You know, me too, Amarin. However, that's funny as shit. So then she like um says some random things, and she's like, "I suppose I'll have to eat real food now," like you know, just adjusting to high fae. um Then after her joke, Moore goes, "Some would consider that joke to be in a bad taste, Amarin." And she goes, "I saved your asses. I'm entitled to say what I want." And with that, she walked out of the house and into the city streets. And Elaine goes, "The new Amarin is even crankier than the old one."
Yes, that's what I wrote something about. I would literally
And
wrote Elaine Savage. Like I was not ready.
it's so funny because she's so quiet, and then she just says something stupid. You're like, because it's like it doesn't say Elaine quipped or Elaine says this. It literally just says it, and then it's like
Elaine said
Elaine said
softly.
softly, and it's like that's something Cassian would say, and the fact that it
Yes.
was Elaine was hilarious. Um, but it's so true because it's just like that's like what a cranky old aunt would say. I'm entitled to say what I want. I
I'm
did
old. I can
this,
say whatever I want. Yes. I
and
feel
it's
like
like,
yeah.
yeah, you a cranky old woman. That's what you are. But yeah, I love it.
I do too.
I don't have anything to
Um
the very last page, so
I wrote me too, 693.
um oh, okay. So this is like heartwarming for me because it's like as someone who has gone through, you know, trauma and abuse and all that and like the gradual healing of it, it's just it's like you're breathing again. It just feels lightening and like you just feel I don't know. It's just a wonderful feeling to go through. And so they're all just like, "Well, what now? What do we do?" And it's like, "Yeah, what do? You went from this to this, and it's just happened in such a short time. Now you have forever to think about what are you going to do." And Elaine answers that question and goes, "I would like to build a garden. After all of this, I think the world needs more gardens." And it's like she has a smile, she looks alive, she looks this. And I think after like I know Grayson like really like hurt her for that. But I think after the passing of her father, I think that the thing that connected her to the human realm was severed. Not, I mean, I know she's always gonna be a human at heart. She's, you know, there. I get it. But I feel like because her dad was there, because her dad, what would he do without her or anything like that? And so now, and then she has Grayson. But I think just having the I think just the father passing away really just kind of settled everything, and she's finally like healed. Not maybe not finally healed, but healing to the point where she is able to see the good in things and like move on and maybe even see a future with Lucian. And I don't know. I think it's really nice to see that transition before this book ends.
Yes. I feel like part of that is probably like not only has she like let go of her last tie to the human world in her
Mhm.
father, but her father also hated the Fae too, right? Like they all did. Their whole family did. And then he literally traveled across the world, rose an army, and came and basically died for his three daughters, who are all now Fae, because he still loves them. They're still worth loving. And I feel like she was struggling with that because, first of all, Grayson was a dick about it, and like she had hated the Fae so much, and now she is
because
Fae. Yeah.
of yeah. It's
And so
kind of
now
like you
she is
go.
that.
It's like you start off like being racist, and then like you grow as a person, and then you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
And
gonna fight for this because this was wrong, and
I think the fact that her father still loved
that's
her, and
essentially what they are, racist. Oh my god.
yeah, basically,
All right.
because they were
Anyways,
ignorant
sorry.
about what's going on. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, you had a wall in between them, so you couldn't really see what was happening. But like, I get it.
Yeah.
And Marantha was on duty for 50 years, so like that was kind of fucked up. Anyways, but anyways, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, but no, I feel like so her seeing that was like, oh, I am still worth loving. Like I can still love myself and still be happy.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
I
gonna be
think
different.
also that it really helped too that Grayson came to fight
Yes. So like he
because he
doesn't
was
still
such
want
an
to be with
ass.
her, but
He's willing to change for who he was, and then, I don't know. I think it's just kind of like this weird like for me, for instance, like when my mom passed, I was like, I really don't see a reason to go back to my hometown anymore. I think my coping mechanism was just like set it and forget it kind of thing. Like don't ever want to deal with it. And then I think once my dad passes, then like that's final. It's like I probably will never return back to my hometown ever again unless it's for like a wedding or a funeral. Other than that, like I don't see myself returning. And I think that's kind of like the thing that she's going through. It's like, well, her dad's gone. Now she doesn't really need to have this with Grayson. I mean, she is high fae, yes, and so that like that would have like led to some trouble. But before, I think she was just like, well, what about my dad? Like, who's going to take care of my dad when he's older? If I'm not there with him, if I'm not with a human person, like what? How is like? I think it's just like the
right.
intricacy of life back then really just kind of got her thinking. So I think it's great that she's moving on and seeing the lighter part
Yes,
of
I
life.
agree.
Anyways,
For
that's all
the
I have.
next two chapters, I only have one thing written for each chapter because they're so short.
Yeah, they're like a
Um,
page each. 81's in Rezan's um,
yes,
point of view.
which was really weird. Like I wasn't ready
Yeah,
for
it
it.
was kind of like, oh, why?
Yeah, I was like, "Rrr, rrr." So
I
wait,
think if we
hold on.
heard this point of view from like Feyre in one room laughing, and then like her like witnessing this scene in another room, I think it would have been a little like I wouldn't be as weird.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'm trying to figure out what I was talking about.
I just said awe because the whole thing is just kind of sweet. Like Rezan's finally like able to breathe and not feel like his entire world's about to shatter at any given moment. Everybody survived, and um, they're all celebrating in their own way. And it's just like
Oh yeah, I remember that
until
part.
then, we enjoy every heartbeat of it, and it's like, aw, you're right. Enjoy it.
Yeah. Um. So when I said, is he talking about their child? Because he says, I looked ahead toward that laugh, that light, and that vision of the future Feyre had shown me more beautiful than anything I had ever wished for.
Oh,
Anything. So I was like, is he
yeah.
talking about their child? Like,
Yeah, I think so. I didn't catch that. I was just
yeah,
thinking like a general, like, there's a future we can, like, because they just had a meeting with all the High Lords talking about, like,
peace
the
and like,
future. Yeah. So I thought that was it. But yeah, you're right.
I
She
think
did
he's
see that.
talking about their child and like the vision of what the bone carver looked like to her and the combination of their faces and like that's
Maybe,
what I
maybe.
thought that they were talking
Oh,
about.
that's so cute. Oh,
Oh my
that's so
gosh.
cute. Anyways, and we're back to Feyre.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like chapter 82 should have been chapter 81. I think it would have
Yeah.
been so cute to end on
And
I feel like chapter 82 is just like pointless. Like what the fuck? Just get it out of here. Why do we have this?
right. I agree. Um the thing that I liked about this one, it's on page 698. At the very top of the page. They're like, when it's time, she says, when it's time to go there, we go together. And
It's
I
a
was like,
bargain.
we go together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my god. All right. Anyway, that's the last thing I had written, was just we go together. It was like some notebook level shit. Like,
I like that they made it a bargain, so it's like one dies, does the other one immediately die too? Like, what's
right? Like, is
that?
that a real bargain? Is there now a tattoo? Like, are we
There is that too.
yeah, like we're gonna
They
die.
both have
Like,
one now. Yeah.
yeah.
Um the one thing I said, okay, so like she's in lingerie. She like
Yeah.
comes out is in lingerie, and then I don't know, like they were kissing because they're just like, yeah, we're free, we're this. And he just shoots up in the sky and they're flying, and then she sprouts her own wings, and then like they're flying together, and it's like she literally was in see-through lingerie, like a gown that was so sheer that you could see the under one, like the underwear and the bra or whatever underneath it, and you're just fucking flying through Velaris. Like, what? You got a shield over you at least, or the entire world's gonna see their fucking high lady's tits.
I mean, at least it's
Like
dark,
she's
maybe.
she's still in her lingerie,
I feel like it would be really cold. Like flying up
right?
into the sky in lingerie, like it's cold and
Like
I don't
damn,
know.
like whatever. Anyways,
It's still not as bad as them like licking each other's bodies after the battle. So
had that blood and sweat and mud taste there, Reese. Nasty.
anyway.
We finished.
We're finished with ACOWAR. We are gonna. The only thing we have left
Yay!
with this book is our fan casting, which will be another episode.
Until then,
Also, next week, keep a lookout because you're gonna have 2 episodes, right? Am I crazy?
yep,
Yeah.
bonus episode
There's gonna be a bonus episode
because
next week.
Hocus Pocus 2 is out on Friday the 30th, which
So
is technically yesterday for those who are listening on Saturday.
yes.
It's tomorrow for us, but you
Yes. So we will be
anyways,
watching that and talking about it, and that will release the same time as, or the same week as our ACOWAR fan casting. So
yeah, I hope I can watch it tomorrow. We have a hurricane coming through, so I hope I can watch it tomorrow. We don't lose power.
yes.
I guess if anything, I could just watch it on my phone and hope for the best, but whatever. I'm watching it, damn it. I've
Oh
waited
my god.
29 years. That's my. This was. Hocus Pocus 1 came out when in 93. It came out when I was born. I waited
I did
29
by
years.
waiting 12 years.
29 years of it
I
in
could not resist. I could not resist. Oh my gosh.
Indiana. There's actually some like memes on that on there, and it's like, I've done my waiting. And it's just a picture of Hocus Pocus 2. And they always do that too when they do like like new like Toy Story 4, like when they did that, or like when they did like Monsters Inc. 2 or something like that. They all, because it's
Yes.
like,
Or
I've done my
Incredibles
wedding.
2. Oh
Yeah,
my
they're like,
gosh.
I've done my wedding.
Yes. I'm actually wearing a Hocus Pocus shirt right now.
You are.
It
I'm
says, I
wearing
just took
Disney,
a
so
DNA test. Turns out I'm 100% that witch.
nice.
And it's got the 3 witches. Anyway, all right. That is all for this week. We didn't even do a
Until
break.
next
Look at us
time.
go.
I know, maybe we should do that more often.
All right. Bye.
Bye.